I stood in the middle of our crowded living room. The air was thick with the scent of fresh balloons and vanilla cake. Friends and family buzzed around, clinking glasses, laughing at old stories. Alex, my husband of 5 years, beamed like he'd just been handed the keys to paradise. He wrapped his arm around my waist, pulling me close, and whispered, "This is it, babe. Our family starts now." I smiled back. My heart was pounding, not with joy, but with the cold precision of a plan unfolding. As the countdown began for the gender reveal cannon, pink or blue confetti ready to explode, I leaned in and said, just loud enough for everyone to hear, "Alex, there's something you need to know. There is no baby. But Sarah? She's very real." The room froze, his face drained of color, and in that moment, I knew. Revenge wasn't just sweet, it was my rebirth. That was the end of it all. Or rather, the beginning of my freedom. But to understand how I got there, how I turned betrayal into triumph, you have to go back to where it started. Back to the fairy tale that wasn't. My name is Emily, and I met Alex in college during one of those rainy autumn days that make everything feel like a rom-com. I was studying marketing, buried in textbooks at the campus library, when he slid into the seat across from me with a coffee in hand. "You look like you could use this," he said, flashing that dimpled smile that could melt steel. He was a finance major, ambitious, with dreams of climbing the corporate ladder. We talked for hours about our favorite books, travel bucket lists, even silly things like whether pineapple belongs on pizza. He said yes. I pretended to agree just to keep the conversation going. By the end of the week, we were inseparable. Our relationship blossomed quickly. Dates turned into weekends away, and before I knew it, we were graduating together, hand in hand. Alex got a job at a prestigious investment firm in Chicago, and I landed a role at a boutique advertising agency. We moved into a cozy apartment downtown, the kind with exposed brick walls and a view of the skyline that made every sunset feel magical. Life was perfect, or at least, that's how it looked on the outside. We married 2 years later in a small ceremony by the lake, surrounded by wildflowers and the people we loved. I wore a simple white dress that hugged my figure just right, and Alex looked at me like I was the only woman in the world. Our vows were heartfelt, promises of loyalty, adventure, and building a future together. "Emily," he said, his voice steady, "you're my anchor in this crazy world. I can't wait to grow old with you." I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was attentive, funny, and always made time for us despite his demanding job. In the early years of our marriage, everything clicked. We'd host dinner parties where friends would envy our chemistry, how we'd finish each other's sentences or share inside jokes that left everyone else chuckling. Weekends were for exploring the city, brunch at hole-in-the-wall cafes, bike rides along the river, or lazy afternoons in Millennium Park. Alex encouraged my career too. When I got promoted to senior account manager, he surprised me with a weekend getaway to Napa Valley. "You deserve the world," he'd say, toasting with expensive wine under the stars. We talked about kids often, painting pictures of a future with little feet pattering around our home. 2, maybe 3, he'd muse. "A boy first, so he can protect his siblings." I'd laugh and add, "Or a girl, so she can rule the world." It felt inevitable, this next chapter. We even started saving for a house in the suburbs, dreaming of a backyard for barbecues and swing sets. But perfection has cracks, doesn't it? They start small, almost invisible, like hairline fractures in glass. At first, I dismissed them as stress from work. Alex's job was high pressure, long hours crunching numbers for millionaire clients. He'd come home late, tie loosened, smelling faintly of bourbon from client meetings. I'd greet him with a kiss, heat up leftovers, and we'd curl up on the couch watching Netflix. "Rough day." I'd ask, "Yeah, but worth it for us." He'd reply, pulling me closer. Then the changes crept in. His phone, once left casually on the kitchen counter, now stayed glued to his pocket. Notifications buzzed at odd hours, but when I'd glance over, he'd angle the screen away. "Just work emails," he'd say with a shrug. I trusted him. Why wouldn't I? We'd built this life on trust. One evening, about 3 years into our marriage, he canceled our anniversary dinner last minute. "Emergency at the office. Big deal closing," he explained over the phone, his voice rushed. I sat alone at the restaurant we'd booked months in advance, sipping wine and scrolling through old photos of us, When he got home past midnight, he brought flowers, red roses, my favorite, and apologized profusely. I'll make it up to you, he promised, and we made love that night like nothing had happened. But the red flags multiplied. Weekend trips with colleagues that he never invited me to. A new cologne I didn't recognize. Lipstick on his collar once. From hugging mom goodbye, he laughed it off. I started feeling uneasy, a gnawing doubt in my gut. Was I being paranoid? Marriage isn't always fireworks. Sometimes it's just life getting in the way, right? I confided in my best friend Mia over coffee one afternoon. He's been distant, I admitted. Do you think? She shook her head. Alex adores you, Em. It's probably just work stress. Talk to him. So I did. That night, I sat him down. Is everything okay? You've been different. He looked me in the eyes, took my hands. Babe, I'm sorry if I've worried you. The firm's expanding, and I'm gunning for partner. Once that's done, it'll be back to normal. I love you more than anything. His words soothed me, and for a while, things improved. He made more effort. Surprise lunches at my office, texts throughout the day. Yet, the unease lingered. I'd wake up to him typing furiously on his phone in the dark. Then he'd delete the messages when he thought I was asleep. One time, I saw a notification pop up. Can't wait to see you again. Saxo. He claimed it was a client misspelling Excel, as in spreadsheets. I wanted to believe him. Desperately. It all came crashing down on a Tuesday evening last spring. I came home early from work, planning to surprise him with his favorite takeout from that Italian place downtown. The apartment was quiet, but his car was in the garage. I set the bags down and called out, Alex? No answer. Then I heard voices from the bedroom. Low murmurs. A woman's laugh. My heart hammered as I pushed the door open. There he was, in our bed, tangled in sheets with her. Sarah, his new assistant from work, the one he'd mentioned in passing. They froze, eyes wide. Emily, this isn't, he stammered, scrambling for clothes. The world tilted. Pain ripped through me like a knife, hot and unrelenting. How long? I whispered, my voice barely audible. Sarah grabbed her things and fled, muttering apologies. Alex collapsed on the edge of the bed, head in hands. 6 months. I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. A mistake? Our life? Our vows? Reduced to that? I didn't scream or cry. Not then. I just stood there, numb, as he begged for forgiveness. We can fix this. Counseling. Anything. But the trust was shattered. Irreparable. That night, I slept on the couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying every red flag I'd ignored. The next morning, over coffee, he swore it was over. I'll quit if I have to. I love you, Emily. Part of me wanted to believe him, clinging to the fairy tale. But deep down, I knew better. This wasn't a one-off. It was a pattern. And I refused to be the fool who stayed. That's when the idea sparked. Not rage-fueled destruction, but calculated justice. I remembered a story Mia had shared about a friend who faked a health scare to expose a liar. Why not adapt it? Pregnancy, something he'd always wanted. It would buy me time, lower his guard, and let me gather what I needed. I waited a week, letting him stew in guilt. Then, one evening, I sat him down. Alex, I'm pregnant. His eyes lit up, tears forming. Really? Oh my God, Em. He hugged me tight, promising to be the best dad. He even called his parents that night, ecstatic. Social media posts followed. Big news. Baby on the way. Hashtag blessed, but there was no baby. I'd bought a fake positive test online. Discreet shipping. Realistic results. While he played the doting husband-to-be, I worked in the shadows. First, I consulted a divorce lawyer quietly. In Illinois, marital assets are split equitably, but proof of infidelity could sway things. I hired a private investigator, discreet, professional, who dug up more. Hotel receipts, emails, even photos of them together. Next are finances. We'd always kept joint accounts for savings and investments. I started small transfers, nothing suspicious, to a new account in my name only. It was legal. As a spouse, I had access, but I documented everything, ensuring traceability if needed. Alex threw himself into preparing. He baby-proofed the apartment, researched cribs, even quit drinking for the baby. His affair? Buried, he claimed. But the PI confirmed he was still seeing Sarah on the sly. Lunches, quick meetups. It fueled my resolve. As weeks passed, I faked symptoms. Morning sickness, easy with skipped breakfasts, fatigue, blamed on work. We attended a fake prenatal appointment. I'd printed a generic ultrasound from online, blurred just enough. It's too early for details, I said. He bought it all. Tension built as the gender reveal approached. I invited everyone, his family, mine, coworkers, friends. The party was set for our home. Decorations galore. Alex was over the moon, posting updates online. Can't wait to find out if it's a prince or princess. The night before, I lay awake, heart racing. Was this too far? No. He'd betrayed me, lied repeatedly. This wasn't just revenge. It was reclaiming my power. Teaching him and myself that no one gets to shatter a life without consequences. The party arrived. Laughter filled the air. Toasts to our growing family. Then, the reveal moment. I held the cannon, smiling, but instead of pulling the trigger, I set it down. Before we do this, I said, voice steady. There's a confession. I pulled out my phone, connected to the TV. A slideshow began. Texts from Sarah. Miss you already. Hotel bills. Photos. Gasps echoed. Alex's mother covered her mouth. His boss frowned. Emily, what? Alex started. There is no baby, I announced. I faked it. Just like you faked our marriage. The room erupted in whispers. Sarah's name hung in the air like poison. He tried to explain, but it was too late. I served divorce papers right there, prepped by my lawyer. We're done, I said calmly. As chaos unfolded, I slipped out the back door, bags already packed in my car. Driving away, tears finally came, not of sorrow, but release. I'd lost a husband, but gained myself. The drive away from that house felt like shedding a skin I'd worn too long. Rain started falling as I merged onto the highway, the city lights blurring into streaks across the windshield. I didn't cry hysterically. The tears that came were quiet, almost grateful. Every mile put more distance between me and the man who'd convinced me love was supposed to hurt sometimes. I had the divorce papers already filed electronically. My lawyer had prepared them weeks earlier, anticipating this exact moment. Temporary restraining order in place. Assets frozen pending equitable division. I'd moved what I could into storage the day before. Clothes, books, the antique lamp my grandmother gave me, our dog's favorite blanket. Max, our golden retriever, was already at Mia's place, safe and waiting for me. I checked into a small boutique hotel downtown, under my maiden name, Emily Harper. No more Emily Carter. The room had a view of the lake we used to walk around on Sunday mornings. Ironic, but fitting. I ordered room service, steak, rare, with a glass of Cabernet, and sat on the balcony as the storm rolled in harder. For the first time in months, I breathed without the weight of pretense pressing on my chest. The next morning, my phone exploded. Texts from Alex. Please come home. We can talk. I'm sorry. I love you. Voicemails I didn't listen to. Calls from his mother, pleading. Emily, he's devastated. Give him another chance, for the family. I blocked them all, not out of spite, but self-preservation. I'd already given too many chances. What followed was a masterclass in quiet execution. My lawyer, a sharp woman named Rachel, who specialized in high-conflict divorces, became my lifeline. She explained the Illinois Marital Property Act in detail. Infidelity doesn't automatically disqualify someone from assets, but it can influence alimony, especially when combined with dissipation of marital funds. Alex had spent thousands on Sarah, hotels, gifts, dinners, money that should have gone toward our future. Rachel subpoenaed bank statements, credit card records, even his work expense reports. The paper trail was damning. Meanwhile, I went radio silent on social media. No vague posts about new beginnings, no cryptic quotes. Silence is powerful. People fill it with their own stories. Friends started reaching out privately. Some sided with Alex, believing his version. It was just an affair. Men make mistakes. Others saw the slideshow from the party and quietly unfollowed him. A few reached out to me. You were so calm. How did you do that? I didn't answer publicly. I was too busy rebuilding. I started therapy. Not the couples kind, but solo sessions with a trauma-informed counselor named Dr. Lena. She helped me unpack why I'd ignored the red flags for so long. You were conditioned to prioritize harmony, she said. Many women are taught that keeping the peace is more important than protecting themselves. It stung because it was true. I'd spent years smoothing edges, making excuses, convincing myself doubt was worse than certainty. But certainty arrived, and with it came clarity. I began documenting my own life again. I opened a separate bank account, transferred the remaining joint savings, legally as Rachel advised, and started freelancing on the side. My agency had always valued my work. When I explained I was going through a divorce, they offered flexible hours and a small raise to retain me. I took on extra clients, branding packages for startups, social media strategies. Money started flowing in under my name only. Alex, predictably, unraveled. His boss called me once, off the record. We had to let him go, he said. The slideshow made it to HR. Clients saw it too. Reputation matters in finance. I didn't gloat. I just thanked him for the update. Later, through mutual friends, I learned Sarah had ended things the week after the party. She'd messaged me once, "I'm sorry." I didn't know how deep it went. I didn't reply. Forgiveness wasn't on my agenda. Not yet. Months passed. The divorce proceedings dragged, as they do. Alex fought every step, contested the alimony request, claimed the affair was emotional only, laughable given the hotel receipts, tried to paint me as vindictive for the fake pregnancy stunt. But Rachel was relentless. We countersued for dissipation of assets and emotional distress. Mediation sessions were tense. Alex showed up disheveled, eyes red, pleading. "I'll change. I'll go to therapy. Just don't take everything." I looked at him across the table and felt nothing but calm detachment. The man I'd loved was gone. This was someone else wearing his face. In the end, the judge ruled in my favor on key points. I kept the downtown apartment. He'd never wanted it anyway, too urban for his suburban dreams. Half the investment portfolio and substantial alimony for 3 years while I rebuilt my career. He kept his car, some retirement funds, and the guilt. Max came home with me permanently. The day the decree was finalized, I walked out of the courthouse into bright autumn sunlight. I felt lighter than I had in years. That night, I hosted a small dinner at the apartment. Only people who'd stood by me. Mia, a couple of close colleagues, my sister who flew in from Seattle. We toasted with champagne. "To new chapters," Mia said, raising her glass. I smiled. "To writing them myself." But the story didn't end there. Revenge, real revenge, isn't just about destruction. It's about creation. I started a private Instagram account under a pseudonym, sharing anonymized stories of betrayal and recovery. No names, no faces, just lessons. Women began messaging me. "This happened to me too. How did you find the strength?" I answered honestly. I told them what Dr. Lena taught me. Pain is information. Use it. 6 months later, I launched a small consulting business focused on personal branding for women in transition, divorce, career changes, life resets. My first client was a woman who'd left an abusive marriage. She said my calm during the gender reveal party had inspired her. Word spread. Clients came. Revenue grew. I hired an assistant, rented office space, built a team. I started dating again, slowly. No rush. The first man I went out with was kind, funny, and, crucially, transparent. When he left his phone on the table during dinner, screen up, I felt a flicker of old anxiety. But he noticed, smiled, and said, "Feel free to look, nothing to hide." I didn't. I didn't need to. Trust, I realized, isn't blind faith. It's earned through consistency. A year after the party, Alex reached out one last time. A long email. Apologies, regrets, promises of change. He was in therapy, single, struggling. Part of me felt pity, not love, just human compassion. I wrote back once. "I wish you well, truly. But this chapter is closed." I blocked him and moved on. Today, I live in that same apartment, but it feels different. Mine, not ours. Max sleeps at the foot of my bed. The skyline still sparkles at night. I travel when I want, take spontaneous weekend trips, say yes to invitations without checking with anyone. I've started running again, training for a half marathon. My body feels strong, capable, my mind clearer, and every so often, I think about that night in the living room, the moment the confetti cannon stayed silent, the slideshow played, and the fairy tale shattered. I don't regret it, not for a second, because in breaking the illusion, I freed myself. Here's the moral I carry now, and the one I want every woman listening to hear. You are not obligated to forgive betrayal to prove you're good. You are not required to stay small so someone else can feel big. When someone shows you who they are, repeatedly, believe them the first time. But more importantly, believe in yourself the thousandth time. Pain doesn't make you weak, it makes you awake. Use it, build with it, rise above it. So I ask you, right now, wherever you are, have you ever ignored a red flag because the love felt too good to lose? What would change if you believed your own gut the very first time it whispered, something's wrong? And if you're in the middle of your own storm, betrayed, heartbroken, doubting yourself, what small, brave step could you take today to remind yourself that you are worth protecting? Drop it in the comments. Share your story if you're ready. Or just type one word, I'm listening. Because you're not alone. And you never have to stay in a story that no longer serves you. Thank you for staying with me through this. If this resonated, hit that like button, subscribe for more real stories of women taking back their power, and turn on notifications. Next time, we talk about the woman who walked away from a perfect life and built an empire instead. Until then, choose yourself. Always.